I'm Holly Walkastora, and I'm so excited today because I have my yoga bestie, Aretha McKinney-Blevins, another certified Iyengar yoga teacher from Nashville, Tennessee, here with me today to show you how to improve your Baddha Konasana. So, and prepare your hips and groins for future poses, such as Ekapada Shirshasana, and the Ekapada Shirshasana cycle, and Mula Bandhasan. Padmasan, as of course, Padmasan. And you can watch my other video on Padmasana and other Padma asanas on this YouTube channel. So, Aretha can perform Baddha Konasana taking her legs to the floor. So she's actually worked on this pose for many years, and so see how she's able to keep her pelvis perpendicular to the floor and release her inner thighs and externally rotate her hips and bring her knees down to the floor? Yes, you can. Okay, so this sequence is not only for Aretha, but it's for all of you, even those of you that have this, more of this shape. Can you take your buttock bones forward towards your feet and slump? Yeah, so I'll just show you so you can see from the side, even if you were sitting in swastikasana, it's this pelvis. So watch how she takes her hands to the floor next to her hips, raises her buttock bones up, and moves her buttock bones back towards the wall behind her. And then when she sits up, she doesn't let her kidneys go back towards the wall and away from her abdomen. She moves her kidneys towards her abdomen and lifts her back ribs up. Okay, so it's important that you see that the mat is doubled up and that the open edge is facing away from the wall. So the first stage of the mild stage, the Murdu stage of the Baddha Konasana project is to take that brick and place it right here on the high side in front of your feet. Now, if you had difficulty getting your pelvis into that perpendicular position, into Tadasana, you could take a blanket, fold it in half, and put it at the wall. Okay, so first stage is to take your hands to the wall and use your hands. So watch how Aretha takes her hands back, up, and she presses her hands into the wall to roll her shoulders back, move the sides of her trunk forward, and take her forehead down. And it's good to move the brick further enough forward so that your nose isn't, the brick is an obstacle for breathing, okay? So you see that Aretha can bring her head down easily to the brick on this stage. So she's going to raise her chin up, move the brick to this stage, and continue to move the sides of her trunk forward and roll her shoulders backward as she takes her head down to the floor. And you'll see that she's keeping her outer thighs, knees, and calves moving towards the floor. And can you see that her hands are in line with one another? Sometimes what happens is, you know, one hand goes up higher than the other. So, yeah, like that. So she's, how are you making sure your hands are even, Aretha?
Rolling the shoulders back evenly.
Mm-hmm. And are you extending from your deltoids and reaching from your shoulders into your fingers?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And feeling if one shoulder is down and one is up is always, compared to the floor, is also useful. Okay, so from here she's going to come back up. So you would stay for between a minute and a half and, 2 minutes, okay? Okay, now the next stage is to take a second brick, walk your feet apart, your knees will come up a little bit more, and that's okay. And then at this stage, those of you who are on the floor might need a blanket, but you see Aretha doesn't, so she's going to keep her inner heels moving into the brick and repeat the same thing that she did before. She's got her pelvis in that perpendicular position. You see how she's turning the root of the thigh from the inside out and extending from the groins to the knees. And then one other action to add in is to resist the top of the shin back towards the wall behind you. So you don't let it come forward, you resist it back, and then squeeze the inner heels into the brick. It helps to suck the outer shins in, to bring those inner heels into the brick. And you see she still has her hands in line with one another. So this isn't possible for everyone, but it is for Miss Aretha. She has this much mobility in her hips. She's taking her hands down to the towards her a little bit more as she lowers the position of her head from the high brick to the medium brick. Okay, and then from here she's going to come back up. Okay, and then the third, that was the medium of the intensities, right? Variation of the asana. And the next one is the intense variation, the Adi Matra. So this is where this is why we have the mat folded this way. So you see she's going to take her legs to Upavishta Konasana, seated angle pose. Her friend gets out of the way. And then watch what happens to the brick. It goes here between the inner upper thighs and you fold the mat over. And now watch, she's going to take her legs to Baddha Konasana and place her feet on the brick. Okay? And now what you'll notice about Aretha is that when she brought her feet up onto the brick, her pelvis stayed perpendicular, right? She's not looking slumped in any way. Her shoulders aren't rounding forward, her lower back isn't projecting back towards the wall behind her. So if that was the case, again, you might need to add another blanket or readjust by raising the buttock bones up, moving them back towards the wall behind you, sitting on the front edge of those buttock bones, and bringing the kidneys towards the abdomen, the abdominal organs as you lift up. Okay, and then here we go again. So for some people, this is enough, right? The seated stage, the Upavishta stage. But Aretha is coming towards Adho Mukha, towards downward facing, and she's sort of halfway between upright and downward facing at this point. Still the hands are level. Okay, now you'll start to see here that the knees are beginning to be, they're below the ankle joints, right? And for some people, they come all the way to the floor. When you raise your head up and bring your brick onto the lower side, the knees oftentimes, and it's happening for Aretha, come even closer to the floor. Yeah, she's saying, go ahead, come on up and say that.
The more you squeeze your outer hips in, the more the inner legs will lengthen, the knees will come down.
Yeah. Okay, and then you release your legs back to Upavishta Konasana. Take the brick out and okay, so what did you feel, Aretha, when you were doing those different stages of Baddha Konasana?
The groins were touched differently in each stage.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, so that is yoga for the hips and groins. We're making them groan a little bit, but it's a great practice for these dog days of summer, and for all of you who are out there hiking and biking and doing all kinds of activities with the legs in that sort of busy position. Okay, so namaste. Thanks, Aretha.